You are not you. The person reading this, the one who woke up this morning, brushed their teeth, drove the same route, had the same thoughts, felt the same frustrations. That is not the real you. That is a program. A memorized version of yourself that has been running on autopilot for years. And that program is the exact reason you are still broke. Joe Dispenza spent decades studying the neuroscience of change, and what he discovered is terrifying. By the time you hit 35, 95% of who you are is a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, and unconscious habits. You are not making choices. You are running code. Program running daily. And here is the part that should make you deeply uncomfortable. Your financial life is not a reflection of your effort. It is a reflection of your programming. The same thoughts produce the same choices. The same choices produce the same behaviors. The same behaviors create the same experiences. And those experiences confirm the same beliefs. It is a loop, a prison you built without knowing it. But what if you could break the loop? What if you could literally rewire your brain to think, feel, and act like a completely different person? One who attracts wealth effortlessly. That is exactly what we are about to uncover. Here is a question that should haunt you. When was the last time you had a genuinely new thought? Not a recycled worry, not an old fear dressed up in new clothes. A truly original thought. Dispenza's research at the University of California revealed something staggering. The average person thinks approximately 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day, and 90% of those thoughts are the same ones they had yesterday. Your personality creates your personal reality. Think about what that means for your bank account. If your thoughts about money today are the same thoughts you had last year, how could your financial reality possibly change? It cannot. Your brain has literally hardwired itself into a pattern. Every time you think a thought, neurons fire together. And as neuroscience tells us, neurons that fire together wire together. You have physically built a neural highway for poverty. Your brain is not broken. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Conserve energy by automating repeated patterns. The problem is that the patterns it automated are the wrong ones. Your morning anxiety about bills, automated. Your scarcity mindset at the grocery store, automated. Your belief that money is hard to earn, automated. You are not choosing poverty. You are remembering it. And that distinction changes everything about how we approach wealth. Most people think they have a money problem. They do not. They have an identity problem. Dispenza explains it like this. By the time you are 35 years old, your identity is essentially a memorized self. A biological computer running the same software every single day. You wake up, and before your feet hit the floor, your brain has already predicted the entire day. Same emotions, same reactions, same limitations. Identity equals destiny. And here is where it gets dangerous for your finances. Your body has become the mind. You do not just think scarcity. You feel it in your bones, your muscles carry it, your posture reflects it. Your nervous system is addicted to the chemistry of struggle. Dispenza discovered that the body memorizes emotions so deeply that it begins to run the show. Your conscious mind might say, I want to be wealthy, but your body, which has memorized 35 years of financial stress, screams back, no, you do not. Your body is rejecting the wealth you say you want. If this identity trap is something you recognize in yourself right now, hit like and subscribe to reprogram more of these invisible blocks. Because what comes next explains exactly how this trap was built and how to escape it. You are addicted to being broke. I know that sounds harsh, but the science behind it is undeniable. Every emotion you feel produces a chemical cocktail in your body, cortisol for stress, adrenaline for anxiety. And when you feel these chemicals consistently for years, your cells develop receptor sites specifically for them. Your cells literally become addicted to struggle. Dispenza references research showing that when people try to change their financial habits, they experience actual withdrawal symptoms. The discomfort you feel when you try to think abundantly, that is not resistance, that is chemical withdrawal. Your body wants its fix of lack and limitation. As the brilliant Candace Pert documented in her research on neuropeptides, the body is the unconscious mind. This is why affirmations alone never work. You stand in front of a mirror saying, I am wealthy, while every cell in your body is screaming liar. The conscious mind speaks in words. The body speaks in chemistry, and chemistry always wins. Until you change the chemistry, you cannot change the reality. So how do you override a chemical addiction that you did not even know you had? You have to understand where it came from. And that takes us somewhere most people are afraid to look. Between birth and age 7, your brain operated primarily in theta brainwave state. This is the same state hypnotherapists used to reprogram beliefs. You were in a trance, and during that trance, you downloaded everything. Every conversation your parents had about money, Every time your mother said we cannot afford that, every fight about bills, every expression of worry on your father's face when rent was due. Downloaded before age 7. You did not analyze these messages. You did not filter them. You absorbed them directly into your subconscious mind like a sponge absorbs water. Dispenza points to research by Dr. Bruce Lipton showing that children in theta state accept everything as truth without critical analysis. The function of the mind is to create coherence between your beliefs and the reality you experience. So if your subconscious downloaded money is scarce at age 4, your mind has spent every moment since then creating a reality that matches that belief. Your poverty was installed before you could spell the word money. Every financial decision you have ever made has been filtered through programs you did not choose. You think you are being rational about money. You are not. You are being obedient to a 7-year-old's interpretation of the world, and that obedience is costing you everything. Dispenza describes the critical moment of transformation as the gap, the tiny space between stimulus and response where consciousness can intervene. Most people never find this gap because they are moving too fast, reacting before thinking, feeling before choosing, living entirely in survival mode. Survival mode is the enemy of wealth creation. When you are in survival mode, your brain diverts all resources to the limbic system. The primitive brain, creativity shuts down, vision narrows. You can only see problems, never possibilities. And the cruel irony is that the stress of being broke keeps you in survival mode, which keeps you unable to think your way out of being broke. It is a neurological trap. But here is what Dispenza discovered that changed everything. The moment you become aware of a thought, truly aware of it as an observer rather than a participant, you create the gap. You separate yourself from the program. For one brief instant, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. In that gap lies the power to choose a different future. And choosing a different future is not a metaphor. It is neuroscience. Because the moment you observe a thought without reacting to it, you weaken the neural pathway that created it. But observation alone is not enough. You need to know what to do once you are in the gap. Harvard neuroscientist Alvaro Pascual-León conducted an experiment that Dispenza cites repeatedly. 2 groups were asked to learn a simple piano exercise. One group physically practiced for 5 days. The other group only mentally rehearsed. They imagined playing the notes without touching a piano. Brain scans revealed something astonishing. Identical. Both groups developed the same neural circuitry. The brain could not distinguish between the real experience and the vividly imagined one. The brain does not know the difference between what it sees in the environment and what it remembers. This is the foundation of Dispenza's approach to wealth creation. If you can mentally rehearse being wealthy with enough emotional intensity and sensory detail, your brain will begin building the neural architecture for that reality. Your thoughts literally reshape the physical structure of your brain. Thoughts become structure, but there is a critical detail most people miss. You cannot just visualize having money. That is surface level. You have to rehearse being the kind of person who naturally attracts money. The posture, the confidence, the decisions, the emotional state. You have to become the person before you receive the proof. This is where most manifestation teachings fail. They focus on the what instead of the who, and who you are determines everything you will ever have. This is the part nobody wants to hear. To create a new financial reality, you have to let the old you die, not metaphorically, neurologically. Dispenza calls it pruning synaptic connections, literally dismantling the neural networks that make up your current identity, and your brain will fight you every step of the way. Death of the old self. The moment you try to change, your body sends distress signals. Anxiety rises, doubt floods in. That familiar voice whispers, "Who do you think you are?" This is not weakness, this is biology. Your body has been running the same chemical program for decades, and you are threatening to shut it down. Of course it resists. Every cell in your body is fighting to keep you the same. Dispenza describes this as the most uncomfortable phase of transformation. You are caught between 2 identities, the old self you are leaving behind and the new self that has not yet fully formed. As the philosopher Nietzsche understood, you must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star. Most people quit in this space. They feel the discomfort and interpret it as a sign they are doing something wrong. But the discomfort is the transformation. If it does not feel like you are losing yourself, you are not changing enough. Dispenza's work with over 14,000 participants in his advanced workshops revealed a measurable pattern. When people successfully shifted their internal state, when they truly became a new person emotionally. Their external reality changed within weeks, sometimes days. Brain scans showed coherent alpha and theta patterns. Heart rate variability improved, and cortisol levels dropped dramatically. They were literally broadcasting a different electromagnetic signal. This is not mysticism. The Heart Math Institute has documented that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond the body. When your emotional state changes, your field changes, and your field influences what opportunities, people, and circumstances you attract. The wealthy do not just think differently, they feel differently. Their baseline emotional state is one of gratitude, certainty, and creative excitement. The broke feel anxiety, doubt, and survival urgency as their baseline. Your emotional baseline is your financial thermostat. Dispenza's data showed that participants who maintained elevated emotions for extended periods, not just during meditation but throughout their day, experienced the most dramatic shifts in their external circumstances. The frequency is not something you tune into once. It is something you must learn to sustain. And sustaining it requires one final element that most people overlook entirely. Dispenza's method is deceptively simple but profoundly difficult. Every morning before you open your eyes, before your body starts running the old program, you sit in meditation. But this is not passive meditation. This is active neurological reconstruction. 1. Become aware of your unconscious thoughts. 2. Emotionally disconnect from the old identity. 3. Mentally rehearse the new self with full sensory detail. 4. Generate the elevated emotion before the experience. The fourth step is the most critical and the most counterintuitive. You have to feel grateful for wealth you do not yet have. You have to feel the certainty of abundance while your bank account says otherwise. You have to generate the emotion of the wish fulfilled in the present moment. The best way to predict the future is to create it, not from the known, but from the unknown. This is not delusion. This is neuroscience applied with precision. When you feel an emotion, your body does not know whether it is caused by an external event or an internal decision. Feel it first, then see it. The emotion signals your genes to produce new proteins, new neural connections, and ultimately a new biological state. You are not pretending to be wealthy. You are installing the neurological software for wealth, and with enough repetition, the software becomes the operating system. Dispenza often references quantum physics to explain the final piece of this puzzle. In quantum mechanics, the act of observation collapses infinite possibilities into a single reality. Your attention and intention are not passive. They are creative forces. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Most people place their attention on what they lack. They observe their bills, their debt, their limitations. And by doing so, they collapse the quantum field into more of the same. They are literally creating their poverty by staring at it. Dispenza teaches that when you withdraw your attention from the known, from the predictable reality your senses confirm, and instead invest it in the unknown, in the possibility of something greater, you open the door for new experiences to find you. You must become comfortable with uncertainty to receive what certainty could never give you. This is the quantum shift. The moment you stop trying to create wealth from your current identity and instead create wealth from the identity you are becoming. As quantum physicist Werner Heisenberg stated, what we observe is not nature itself, but nature exposed to our method of questioning. The universe responds to who you are being, not what you are doing. Change the being, and the doing transforms itself. So here is the uncomfortable truth you need to sit with. You have been living as a memorized version of yourself. A biological program running the same code, producing the same results, and wondering why nothing changes. Same code, same results. Joe Dispenza did not create a theory. He documented a transformation process backed by brain scans, blood work, and thousands of case studies. The evidence is clear. You are not stuck because of your circumstances. You are stuck because of your identity. An identity can be rewritten. It requires awareness to see the program, courage to stop running it, and discipline to rehearse a new one until it becomes who you are. The hardest part is not becoming someone new. It is letting go of who you have been. You do not need more money strategies. You do not need another budget spreadsheet. You need a new self. One thought at a time, one emotion at a time, one day at a time. If you made it this far, comment reprogrammed if you are ready to delete the old code and install a new operating system. Your personality creates your personal reality. Change your personality and you change your personal reality. Your mind is either programmed for wealth or poverty. Now you know how to reprogram it.